Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to one of the best series I have the honor of casting. Even if this next game, these next two games, what have you, end in 15 minutes, 30-0, this is still one of the best series I've ever been able to cast because of that amazing game one. If you haven't watched it and you're checking out a VOD or something, stop what you're doing and jump back to game one. You can't miss it. You cannot. That was just so darn good. Unless you prefer the non-exciting, non-action-packed FarmFest Dota, do your thing, have some fun. But that was Dota at its finest, and I can't wait to get some more of it. MiTH-Trust versus First Departure, guys. Game 2 of this best of 3. I'm Blaze. Happy to be able to bring you guys this broadcast and on Dota Talk TV 3. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and staying tuned for this amazing series between these two amazing teams. Some throws, some silly stuff, but in the end, very, very fun to see. It looks like we lost one individual for First Departure. Looking over at my list here, it looks like Lubby has been taken out. The Rubik from last game is no longer with us. We'll have a stand-in in his space. I really wish I had some confirmation as far as who was that mid player, if it's actually Polasan and I can give him credit where credit's due, or if it is actually a different individual named mid or feed. I don't have the information on that, but plain simple, I just had to regain my voice, honestly. Like I had to drink like half a glass of water just now just to not be hoarse for this game, but I'll do my best to try to regulate that. I'll fix my microphone since it practically fell over last broadcast, and then we'll get into the draft. Alright, I think we're good to go. Double check everything. Yeah, okay. So, this draft is underway. We start off with the Lifestealer band, the Lich band from MiTH-Trust. They have the first pick available to them, but despite that, they want to take out those two very powerful heroes. They have something else in mind. Commonly it's the Elder Titan, but who knows with these guys. We saw a Shadow Demon first pick from First Departure, and although it played an amazing role in what they were trying to accomplish, it still was an odd first pick. Either way, Batrider taken out, looking for that niche pickup that they think MiTH-Trust wants. Not going to give them the OD here.
Radiant team pick.
So, Naga Siren is going to be picked up to start things off. Very great for initiating team fights or disengaging from fights that you do not want to take part in. Along with that, he has great disables for melee carries, even ones with magic immunity. It doesn't matter. They won't be able to stay on target, but you can disjoint the net. You can avoid it in that fashion. So right off the bat, we're going to see the anti-mage picked up here. And again, Lakel's not going to get his hands on it. So we'll see how well it's played. We have seen previously Naga Siren run on the mid lane. Got a Radiance and all that good stuff, but for the most part, we still expect her to go in a supportive mindset. So we'll see.
Radiant team pick.
Anti-Mage and Timbersaw. Interesting little combo there. One hates trees, one hates magic. God forbid you put some magical trees in front of them. But beyond that, they don't really have the most synergy in the world, just good mobility, good damage. And so they can chase to Kingdom Come. If you start winning a fight as First Departure and Anti-Mage is actually participating rather than split pushing, then you're going to be all over them. Like, you have to Naga Siren disengage. And so that make it more difficult for MiTH-Trust to draft because they don't necessarily want to always rely on Song. Like, you would love to just go for Wombo Combo, Darkseer, Enigma, Jakiro, ET, all this good stuff to follow up. But if you're using your Song defensively most of the time, then that might not work out as far as a strategy. So we'll see. But for right now, that doesn't mean they're going to be losing the fights. They can still pick up some very good team fight, and we've seen that MiTH-Trust are perfectly willing to get down in the trenches up against these guys. But we'll see.
Radiant team ban.
Beyond that, we do see Clockwork selected. Pretty good for those long-range pickoffs. Not necessarily great at keeping Anti-Mage in his cage, unless you, of course, have an Orchid to follow up. And that's even before his Manta Style. But still a good hero overall with good potential to
5
go
seconds remaining.
either mano-a-mano versus Timbersaw or more likely just surviving against 2 or 3 opponents on an offlane situation. We have also seen Clockwork in the mid, very, very active. And oh, one thing I actually have to mention here is although he can't shut down Anti-Mage, he's actually really good at secluding Timbersaw. If he gets the hook on him, the Battery Assault alone will interrupt any Timber Chain you go for. So that forces Timbersaw to buy a Force Staff, and that really, really changes how aggressive he can be. Because although it's a great survivability tool, he usually just prefers to go for raw HP and mana, and that's something that he won't be able to rush up because of the Clockwork factor. So, pretty important. Beyond that, still, a lot remains to be seen. Drafting up their lineups, we haven't seen too much as far as supports go. We could see the Naga Siren run supportively, of course, and we saw some great Rubik and Shadow Demon and many other plays. Visage has yet to be mentioned in the draft, but could be in the second ban phase. Actually, I believe it most likely will, but we'll see. We'll see. Looks like my Skype dropped, but don't seem to be having any issues with the stream, so as long as you guys can hear me, that's the important thing. There we go. A little disconnect. I don't think there's anything to worry about there. Hannah will come back in just a moment, I presume.
Dire team ban.
But beyond that, we see the draft go very gradually underway. The Night Stalker and the Weaver bans. Night Stalker because of silences, the Crippling Fear specifically. It's like a free Orchid. It's really, really good against Timber and Anti-Mage. And the Weaver because he can split push as well. If you're trying to continuously put pressure on one lane and then have your team fighting on the opposite lane, Weaver doing the same thing but on the opposite team will very commonly force you to clash instead of farm, and this Anti-Mage very obviously wants to farm. In turn, the support bans from MiTH-Trust, they have their Naga Siren secured. We have even seen some Clockwork pickups run as support instead of a core role, but I have yet to see a single Eastern team do that. They usually give them as much as they can. Anyways, the Rubik and Abaddon have been taken off the field because the first departure has the first pickup, and MiTH-Trust feels flexible with their supports. But with that, first departure is able to nab the Darkseer, slip through, and I think both teams were looking at the Darkseer as a possible pick, and MiTH-Trust just felt like maybe they could get their hands on it. Because Timbersaw commonly off lanes, Darkseer is in that same laning situation, so they're like, okay, well maybe they'll pass it up. Maybe we can make this work where we can wombo with our combo and pull them in after the song. But in this case, no dice. Darkseer slips through, goes right into the hands of first departure, and that makes it ever harder for MiTH-Trust to actually make sure their team fights are working for them. Because the main intention of Timbersaw and Darkseer together is never let MiTH-Trust feel confident enough to gank Anti-Mage. 4 people will be bottom. Timbersaw, Darkseer, and 2 others will always be putting pressure out with well, after like level 8, level 9. We'll vacuum them together, throw chakrams at them, whatever they can do to cause havoc. And from there, MiTH-Trust doesn't really have the opening where they can rally their forces, focus down the Anti-Mage, and prevent his farm. And farming Anti-Mage is quite a happy one. So that'll be the overarching strategy. Along with that, they're going to be kind of going for their own kind of super combos. They have the vacuum into the kinetic field, static storm. On top of that, we'll make sure everybody's silenced, so you can't song out, you can't get your disables out of Shadow Shaman, so on and so forth. And then, of course, you have the Wall of Replica physical damage, Iron Shell, and Thundering Strike AoE damage, and you can plop down a quick Mana Void on one target after the fact. So combine all that together with the fact that Disruptor has this new really cool Aghanim Scepter that he could potentially go for as a second core item, that can make it so that even a BKB carry is still going to be locked in place with this pickup. So I really admire the Disruptor pickup. It can throw off a clock initiation by glimpsing him away. Heck, even a Song of Siren. If it's okay, this is breaking down to hardcore theorycraft. Like, this is very niche situation, but let's say a Naga Siren is attacking from the south with her song. She's running in there as quick as she can. She has a pretty good movement speed boost, but Disruptor is in the northern part of the fight and sees her coming. He can actually glimpse her back and stop the song. Well, he won't stop the song, but he'll stop his allies being afflicted by the song, and then they can blink and Timber Chain away. So, yes, it's convoluted. It's not going to... We might only see it once, but it's still worth mentioning, in my opinion. Glimpsing back Naga, glimpsing back Clockwork. But the answer for right now is the Lone Druid, trying to get some Entangled Roots on Anti-Mage, trying to just get a hero that doesn't rely on a single frickin' spell. You can put him in a cage, you can silence him, but if you come in, you better be ready for a fight.
Radiant team banned.
Final bans come across. We do see the Pugna taken out. MiTH-Trust contemplating what they're going to be looking towards there. Right now, Myth is kind of going for a pseudo-pushing lineup with the, I mean, to some extent the mirror images, but most importantly, the Serpent Wards and, of course, the Lone Druid's Bear. Great for demolishing towers. Great for causing a lot of problems. And if they start by dropping the wards, First Departure will have a lot harder of a time engaging on that position. Essentially, you can get all the spells off you want, but if you're already doing damage with your Bear, with your wards, they're not going to stop you from killing the tower, and they're not going to stop you from killing them. So it's pretty important to take into consideration as well.
Reserve time. 10 seconds remaining.
Enchantress is going to be the final pickup here. Not necessarily what I would expect. Obviously, I needed something supportive, jungly, and good for team fighting in general. But with the Chen off the board, they just go with the Enchantress instead. I guess they did really want that Chen. Couple of creeps do, of course, have great AoE abilities. Also, they want something that can be more for a single target focus. They can say, okay, well, we can push down towers too, and we can force you to group up. The Enchantress is a tool to force MiTH-Trust to go 4-man Dota, 5-man Dota. But Doom is on wrench in the works that will be able to deal with at least one of the initiators. Silence the Disruptor, silence the Darkseer, or the Timbersaw. Any one of those, and you're taking out a lot of their combo. So that's a pretty big deal. And Lakelz is actually going to be carrying it up in the Doom, while Ryga goes on that Lone Druid offlane. So that's going to be pretty fun. So does that mean that is going to be a mid-Clockwork, supporting on the Shadow Shaman, SD will be on the Naga Siren, and then, of course, like we said, Doom will be a core hero. So with that, Enchantress, her intention is to push towers and force people to respond to her so that Hannah, mid or feed, and of course Lubby and the Disruptor can do what they want. But with this Doom, easier said than done. I actually think the Doom is a brilliant pick. I'm amazed it wasn't banned out. I mean, a Pugna, but yeah. So a Doom will be able to lock down an Anti-Mage, lock down literally anybody. The Enchantress is probably the lowest priority target to Doom because she can just be focused down with damage. Well, nuke damage. Not really the auto attack variant, as the Untouchable isn't that big of a deal. But anywho, now I'm looking at this game and thinking there's no way it can live up to the expectation the last one built. Like, that was just such a good game that this one I feel is going to be a disappointment. But you know, you got to roll with the punches, the stomps, the back and forth, crazy fights, one way or another. I'm going to enjoy it. Right now, let's look over at the starting items. We do have, of course, like I said, TNK is supporting, so he just is picking up some HP regen, pooling some to Clockwork so that Abba can move in towards that Bottle Rush with just 2 tangos. So beyond that, we do see Ryga. Looks like he's actually taking the mid lane. Is that really where they want to go with it? Obviously, they have the option. Looks like Abba's changes his build probably by the Boots. Okay, Boots or Stout Shield were the 2 options to go for the offlane, and yeah, they switched it up. Ryga will go toe-to-toe with Timbersaw on the mid lane. One of the few heroes that can actually harass Timbersaw down with physical damage, even if he has a point in reactive armor or 2. But in the meantime, going through the roster of the Dire, Miracle is going to be carrying it up on his Anti-Mage. Kai on the Enchantress, supporting in the jungle. Lubby. Okay, so they didn't have a stand-in. Is that a... maybe he changed his name. I'm not too sure, but Lubby back in it on the Disruptor. Full strength for both teams. That's pretty cool. And it's kind of like another one of those calms before the storm. This is going to be just CS battles for maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and then we're going to see some nice Enchantress rotations, some ganks, and then follow through with some great push, and then we'll see how it comes when we see the Clash of the Titans. So for right now, the matchup, Clockwork, is going to be up against Anti-Mage and Disruptor. Not the best matchup for him, but if he can burn down Anti-Mage a couple times so that he can't pursue with Blink, it'll make him a lot less aggressive than most Anti-Mages would be, where they can just burn all the mana they can. Meantime, down bottom, Lakelza starting off with Doom, going to get a lot of bonus gold. It's like starting off with a pseudo Midas, and you can kind of do a lot with that. Meanwhile, Hannah trading hits with Shadow Shaman. Has to be a little careful about that, but he's got plenty of restoratives locked down. In the meantime, a little bit of jungling. No stacks for the Enchantress. Nope. So she's just kind of taking the jungle as is, but still in a pretty good position to farm at an appropriate rate. Going for Shackles, a little bit of illusion damage, but it's really just to harass. And now actually he's in not so great of a spot. Not going to go use the Surge, as it would put him in risky business territory, but burning Shadow Shaman down to his last 2 tangos. Now I see the smoke rotation out into the jungle. Checked for the starting rune, that didn't really come into play. But now they should be able to get this kill on Abba, and that's a really big deal. He does buy a stout shield. He's still has unreliable gold though, and it looks like he is going to drop down. First blood going to Anti-Mage. So great rotation from Kai, exactly what they needed, and starting off on the right foot, 100% for Anti-Mage. Couldn't have really asked for a better start in that situation, because Clockwork, not too scary at level 2. Down at bottom, there was a little bit too much of manning up from SD. As I said, he only had 2 tangos, so when Hannah gets a rune, oh actually no, he just picked up the rune. No, he got the rune first. Okay, so essentially what happened there was they both went down to contest the rune. Hannah had Iron Shell, he got the DD, he killed the Shaman. No problem. And that's because Shadow Shaman's only level 1. Far enough away from the creep experience, he wasn't able to get his Hex. Without a Hex, you really can't deal with that situation too well. So, I gotta say, SD was trying to zone him a little bit too hard. Like, he was always going toe-to-toe and taking too much damage. So, in that situation, you just got to be very careful and rely on your secondary support. You can't just be the only guy to go head-to-head with a guy that was designed to solo. Darkseer is just so good in the offlane, and got to respect that a little bit here and there. Anywho, 1-1-1 build for Anti-Mage. Already well on his way towards that Battle Fury, and might even go it before Boots just because the timing's so great. Or, you know, because it's Miracle, it might be a Midas first. Battle Fury second. We'll see. There you go. Miracle doesn't disappoint. At the very least, he's consistent, guys. So it goes for the Ether Shock. Means SD is going to be in position to do a little bit more harassment as per his mana pool, but again, this SD doesn't seem, or Hannah doesn't seem to mind at all. He feels very comfortable in this position here. I mean, even if they get the net, he's not really at risk. They'll do some damage to him. He has a salve. He's blocking every single auto attack they throw. It's just screwing around with the sports as best he can. As long as they're not pulling, he's fine. But mid lane, coming in with a rotation. They're just messing around with Darkseer a little bit here and there, but the action is really happening with these Enchantress rotations. Going once more on the mid lane, gets the flank there, and is able to help in the kill of the Lone Druid. Luckily, he has his bear to resummon. Gets a root off, in fact, but not really. Oh, here comes that ensnare. This should be a kill. On to mid or feed. Too much damage. Lone Druid takes the last hit. So, puts him right back on top, although he does share the experience a little bit more thoroughly. Interesting pick. Going for the Midas on the small creep when there's probably larger... I guess that's an easy camp now. There was a Wolf Commander here, but I guess he's leaving that to the Enchantress. So, I don't think those small, lesser trolls give very much compared to like a melee creep, but money is money.
Thou art denied.
And I guess that's what he wants more so than anything else. Like, most heroes get the Midas for the experience, at least a little bit. Like a Gyrocopter or a Lifestealer. Really, really want to get those ultimate points up. But Anti-Mage is pretty happy just to have the boots going into Battle Fury and pretty much go from there. That's where he gets his levels, is from his Battle Fury timing. So it all works out in the end. Meanwhile, Midas for Midas. Doom looking towards his, but no first blood means he is going to be a little bit behind comparatively, even though he is just throwing points at this Doom. He really is just feeling that as much as he can. Tangle available, trying to Orb of Venom slow. If the Entangle connects, this is an opening for SD to jump in. Right now, invisible to the Fog of War of Night, but looking for that opportunity. Still, 2 points in reactive armor is generally enough to avoid harassment, and that means it has to be that Entangle to actually net a kill. In the meantime, looks like a rune control attempt coming from Hannah, but TNK is going to cover that up pretty well themselves, and the wards show that. So, rune is going to spawn bottom, regen for them. Meanwhile, MiTH was finished on the kills, actually used it on a creep. Oh, SD in a bad spot here. I don't see him getting out of this one. A little bit of Chakram slow. Does throw out a couple spells, but in the end, Darkseer claims his life. But yeah, so the kills, just using his MiTH on the creep wave, and Face Boost actually picked up for Clockwork, which is pretty interesting.
There it goes.
So he has mobility, he's able to respond to Miracle's aggressive blinks. And Miracle is really going for that 1-1-1 build. Until he gets to very close to his Battle Fury, he's not going to bother putting points in Blink, as he just wants that more last hit potential, that more survivability. Does he have more than that, or is he just sitting on ROH? Okay. So only Ring of Health. We do see a quick dive. Doom is what's going to bring down the Darkseer. Commits the Doom. I actually thought that played a global sound effect for spectators, but apparently not. Either way, he chases him down under tower, no problem at all, and there is no TP rotation. Right now, Lubby's just too low of HP, farming in the jungle, and Enchantress has kind of already made his mark on the map and needs to recover his levels. Speaking of recovering levels, Hannah already with a MiTH. Have seen this quite a few times. MiTH Darkseer able to jump towards rank 2 wall replica very quickly, and therefore be much more of a factor in the team fights. Still, Ancients haven't really been stacked at all, but Darkseer's been able to find what he needs.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So MiTH on the bear, hopefully using it on his own person to get the experience, but still a good pickup to accelerate his farm as well. All picked up at a relatively good time. That's 4 MiTHs on the field, 2 for 2, and that's pretty much keeping things even as far as late game potential stability. Now down here, getting the shackles onto Hannah. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage, and tries to vacuum up the cliff. Is unsuccessful at hitting any of them, and in the end he does fall to Doom. Now pressure from both Anti-Mage and Disruptor. Bringing down these creep waves, no problem at all. And Clockwork doesn't really have much to do about it. Only 1 point in the rocket. No direct contest. So this allows them to take out well over half the tower's HP, and might even get the tier 1 if they don't commit a rotation. Very difficult to commit a rotation against Lubby, who has 3 points in Glimpse. Look at this range. All he has to do is stand in this position here, and he is able to get a glimpse on anybody TPing to tier 1. So, oh, bringing in the Clockwork. That's who they want. He does have a couple of abilities. Going to use his mana very, very quickly, but that just makes him open to the Mana Void. Doesn't look like Anti-Mage wants to pursue, though, surprisingly enough. What's that? Okay, so that's 0.6 damage per mana spent, and he only has 330 missing, so he isn't going to do too much with that. Roughly 200. Then reduced by magic after that. So I guess it was wise enough not to dive, even if the Clockwork would have been dropped to pretty critical HP. Instead, they just get everybody together: Enchantress, Disruptor, Anti-Mage, and it is hard to defend against push against this. 2 Hellbears clearing the creep wave. Disruptor ready to glimpse. Brutal. So the tier 1 will fall. Anti-Mage will claim the last hit.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Bit of damage received, but nothing a couple of points in Nature's Attendance won't fix. In the meantime, 3rd MiTH coming out for Kai on the enchant.
Denied.
Double damage rune for Timbersaw. I'm gonna make his mark on the map pretty quickly. He's level 8. He's in a great position to start moving actively. The Timber Chains is a good range, and just needs to really find a good target. Right now, target of choice up on top lane is Miracle, and the Anti-Mage, oh, so many blink interrupts. He barely gets out the hook shot. Oh, just off the mark, but here's the Shadow Shaman. One right click, they get the kill. Oh, such luck, such timing. Timbersaw in mid, double damage, burns down the Lone Druid with the help of the Darkseer, and now it looks like they'll push using Nature's Attendants to heal the Timber. But yeah, wow, such luck on the top. There were 2 creeps, and then later on 1 creep that could have taken the battery assault, but every battery assault connected on Anti-Mage at the exact time Miracle was trying to blink. Interrupted it every time. He couldn't get out, and although the hook was dodged, they had the backup plan. They had the Shaman waiting in the wings.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Miracle says, screw this, you guys are putting that much pressure on me. I've taken your tower, the wave's too pushed out. I'll just get my money elsewhere. And down bottom is where he shall roam, with his Midas about to come off cooldown, and a current net worth value of 6,500 gold, due to last hitting 81 creeps. Just a great position for him to be in. And he will snag a Wolf Commander for the Midas, I believe. Alright, he's actually come back to lane. Just, again, focusing on the money aspect, not the experience. For better or for worse. Looks like a drum will be Abba's choice. That means the mechanism will be forced to the supports. Your ladder is a very casual bracer. But generally, off-lane Clockworks prioritize mechanism a lot more actively. So we'll see. We'll see. Coming out, the rune spawn bottom. Going to be picked up by the Timbersaw. And a regen rune is actually a pretty big force to be reckoned with. He really benefits from a large mana pool, and this, of course, gives him just nearly an unlimited supply for a short time period. And moving towards that Bloodstone very rapidly. Great utility item for a lot of reasons. In the meantime, though, the wards are committed, and this is going to be a guaranteed tier 1 tower kill. Not even sure why they popped the fortification. This is a completely wasted fort. They wasted 4 seconds. They're not going to deny against wards, are they? Are they? Oh my god, the timing! Those wards were so close. It was so low. Such a low tower. But not low enough. Timbersaw walks in, gives it a whack with the chain, and Timber... I guess it was a good fortify. I don't even know. Like, that shouldn't happen, but there you go. Crazy, crazy games. Jim picks up a Shadow Blade. Not as great of an item as it used to be, but still that movement speed boost is a pretty big deal, and closing in on a target to get one quick whack and then the doom really, really allows you to do a lot until they start dropping sentries underneath their feet. So he has Shadow Blade movement speed, he has Scorched Earth movement speed, phase boots, a lot of percent-based buffs. We'll see if they allow him to stay on target as much as he intends.
Is under attack.
Right now, it does cost a decent chunk of mana, 75, but he has 200 beyond that. He can use his rank 2 Doom, but they don't connect with the hook shot. Without the hook, there is no kill, unless they find Lubby here stalking in the trees. Lakels, are you really going for this, man? I don't think it's a good idea. He already surged away. It's Lubby that's the one that you want, but he can still actually TP away, unless there's a battery assault or a cogs. And Disruptor just goes ahead and TP's back to the mid lane. Very calm game compared to what we were seeing before. I mean, I'm just ready for all hell to break loose and buybacks to just start flying, but for now, they're biding their time. And trust me, my throat can use it. I'm just like chugging through water, trying to keep up, but now an Entangle comes out on the Anti-Mage, doing a lot of damage, not going to get the kill, but forcing him off the lane, delaying his Battle Fury just a little bit more. So close to it. But not today. So who's going mech? Urn on Naga Siren, Bracer towards maybe Drum on the Clockwork. But here comes the initiation from mid or feed. Was that a missed hex? No, just didn't throw it out at all. Anyways, the fortification, miscommunication. The deny would have come from SD instead.
Radiant's middle tower has
Immune. Battle Fury completed with that tower kill. Brutal. And enchanted, he's enchanting Naga's Iron Illusions to scout. That's cute. So, looking at GPM, Doom is going neck and neck with Lakel's, but with Miracle, but that's about to change very quickly. Battle Fury can clear down a single or a double stack of Ancients very, very quickly, and from there, it gets very, very difficult to stay on terms with this anti-mage as he skyrockets towards that Manta style. Again, I gotta compliment the carry on great farming. Miracle finding his Battle Fury plus Midas before the 16-minute mark. Extremely potent. Extremely potent. And there, the first stack begins. Now pursuing on top of Lakel. Shadow Blade expiring 2-1 in a very bad spot. They will go in on this. And glimpse back. There's no escaping. Goes for the Doom. Not gonna matter. He will fall. In the meantime, it looks like they almost want something, but I don't think Miracle is low enough for them to justify it. And instead, SD gets caught out. Doesn't have too low of HP for the Chakram Slow, but the Vacuum pulling them back in. They get Cogs. Abba suiciding here with the Cogs, but tracking them with the Serpent Wards as well. They're just going to clear that out, get some easy money, and we're just going to see First Departure pull ahead by far in the gold department. Actually, another glimpse pulling back TNK. Can't Song inside the storm, and he will fall as well. Double kill for Kai, and 8-4 in favor of First Departure. A completely different start than what we saw last game.
Tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
5,000 plus gold advantage, 4,000 experience, and we do see the next pickup is that Vladimir's doesn't really feel too threatened by the current disables that are coming out, because honestly the only one you can Manta out of anyways is the Entangle or the Net. So from that perspective, I completely understand. He just wants a little bit more armor for him and Darkseer's Illusions. He'll be able to farm more efficiently, not having to worry about his HP, and he will be able to go for Roshan in the near future. So all in all, a worthy 2,000 gold investment. That enhances his split push as well. There's that delayed mechanism. I'm not sure why he went for the Bracer first, but I mean, it is one of the most durability efficient, cost-efficient items in the game. You go Treads, Bracer, and Clockwork, and you get a bang for your buck. In this case, he goes for mobility over the survivability, but nevertheless, going to be able to move in towards mechanism at a great time. But oh goodness, Miracle a little bit too far forward. Trying to, he's getting healed by Nature's Attendants. He's actually going to be A-okay. Guy with the rank 3 there.
Invisibility.
So, in this position, quite a bit of a transition from the carry Venomancer of Miracle played last game to over to the Anti-Mage. Oh, blocked trees, but luckily Quelling Blade. But now we do see actually a really big item pickup on the Lone Druid, finding his Radiance plus Midas at only 19 minutes. This is a farm fest, at least for the first 20. They're going to put these items to work in the very near future, but still, finding a lot of cash value. Even if only 84.50, that's exactly what he needed. And the Midas goes right back on the bear after using. So, he's in a good position here, has his max rabbit, now can work towards true form. And they have a good eye on what's going on with Roshan, currently just above half HP. But the Bloodstone is finished, and a pipe will be in progress for Timber, at least I hope so this time around. Last time it never actually came out, but this time, here it is. Clockwork gets the rocket. This is big. Timing for Miracle. He's manning up on this Roche with the Vlad's lifesteal, but MiTH-Trust is grouping up for this. They have the Song of Strength. They'll go for the steal. Roshan dropping down 500, 400 HP. Gotta snipe it. Are they going in? Lakel's looks for it. 200, 100. Oh, it's gonna go to Dire and Anti-Mage. He gets the Aegis. And now blinks away. Static Storm, Vacuum, and a wall all inside the Roche pit here. TNK gonna glimpse back, interrupting the TP. Hannah doomed, but he's already dropped his payload. Lakel's taking a lot of damage, and he will fall. huge damage output. The Radiant's doing some work. Might finish off Enchantress here. Yes, it will. But Miracle on the front line, still with that Aegis. Ultra kill for the lone Druid. And many kills for the Anti-Mage and the Timber. Now respawning in just a few moments. Will they be able to turn this around, or are they going to head for the hills? Going on the Shadow Shaman. He's out of mana and now out of life. Going on the lone Druid. Burning the Bear. Without a Radiance, you've got nothing. Going 2 more right clicks is all he needs, but he can't close the distance. There's a Chakram to do it. And Rygo turns. What is that? Rotation. Could have kept running. Might have actually been able to get out as a result. But instead, the last right click comes through. And that's a multi-kill. That's a double kill for Miracle. And I think one more on top of that, with just a little bit too much time in between. Either way, we're looking at a total KDA of 6, 1, and 2. With having gotten the Roshan kill, having gotten the Aegis and now used it. And now man mode on the tier 2 on bottom. Clockwork with the hookshot available, TPing in, no disruptor. Glimpse goes and connects onto Timbersaw. Battery Assault. He got out despite the Battery Assault. The timing of that is so minimalistic, but either way, Doom sends a couple stunts his way, and the TP will not succeed. But yeah, the Timber Chains are interrupted by that Battery Assault, but there's a 0.3 second interval between each stun, and actually 0.7 interval, sorry, I was thinking about cast animations for 0.4 second usage. Anyways, there's a 0.7 interval, and Timbersaw's animations, they're pretty small, but the more important thing is that chain itself does take some time. So he went for the... What is that? Doom kill. Doom on bottom gets 3 AM'd. Comes out of the jungle, he's finished farming, and he pounces. Anywho, yeah, it's just... Battery Assault's good against Timber Chain. It's surprising he got out, but he still died. Not a big deal. Bigger deal is what Miracle is doing with this game now that he has gotten everything he could possibly ask for. Got the first blood to begin with, moved towards a Midas at an incredible rate, and now he has his Battle Fury, his Vlads, can go for Butterfly, really whatever his heart content. Beyond that, we do see the Pipe of Insight finished for the Timbersaw. That will negate the full 8 seconds of Radiance for that time. That's a really big deal for him. On top of that, he doesn't really have to fear for his own life. Right now, he's only level 15 with 10 Bloodstone charges. A very short death timer. And that allows him to stay on the front line. Speaking of front line, Miracle up close and personal with this tier 2 tower. Now going hardcore onto CNK. Can he burn his mana down to avoid the song? Doesn't matter, he's not going to pursue. Actually, Doom possible for the kills. He pops it off onto Miracle. They get the chicken as well, but he pipes him up. They trap him inside. He's going to walk through. Now, a lot of damage coming from a huge vacuum inside the Static Storm. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. They all survive, and here Miracle heals. Tanking up the tower. Now going for some free money on these wards. This is just getting brutal. Miracle with an 18,000 net worth, a GPM of 792. Going for the tier 3 at only 23 minutes in. This is not how MiTH-Trust wanted to play this game. This is them hiding in a corner from the terrors of the Anti-Mage. We haven't seen a song. We have not seen a song. She's tried it once or twice, but we haven't gotten it. And they'll take that. They'll take the bear kill, they'll take the tier 3, and they'll walk away as such. So first departure, want to make this a real match, take it to game 3. We'll see how successful they are on that endeavor. Right now, 17-9 with an Aghanims up on the Enchantress. Goldgraph going 17,000 in their favor and 20,000 in experience. They already have the second point of wall. They have a Blink Dagger on Hannah, Mechanism on him, Pipe on the Timber. Everything's working out well for them here. Not sure why Metterfeet's having fun stealing some kills. Anti-Mage is hungry. He wants the creeps. Now, man mode. This is the best thing MiTH can do, is just look for some good Song of the Siren 5-man Dota initiations on mid. Not exactly what they want, but here they go. Abba caught inside the kinetic field. Not the best one to pull out of position. Now there's not that much going for them. The Invis rune is active, but underneath the Sentry Ward, he is netted in place. A lot of damage coming out. Wall does not hit on, actually hits on 3. The vacuum was really good, but here's the Song of the Siren to disengage, and the end result is a lot of cooldowns and no successful kills, except for the fact that there are no TPs. Lakel's didn't TP, SD didn't TP, though he did have a blink. Interesting choice here as Clockwork gets pulled back in. So Clockwork will be battered down. He saw Shadow Shaman is being pursued and finished off by the Timbersaw. And that's a 2 for 0, despite the song that could have gotten them all out. I'm not sure why they didn't all blink, TP, and run for the hills. They overstayed their welcome and they paid with their lives. Now 20,000 net worth Anti-Mage on the front line, still has Manta available. These melee racks are gone. Looking for the ranged, nope, just rotating for some easy kills and easy towers. Still 12 seconds left on the Shaman, has his ultimate, but he needs to get in position. Meanwhile, a volley of impetus, the Heart of Tarask. Is there anything that they can do to bring down Miracle now? It doesn't look like it. There is a glimpse back. TNK going to get dropped down. SD with the blink shackles, but he hasn't thrown his wards up. Now, inside the cogs is Mitterfeed. He's happy to be there. Ion Shell taken away, and Abba going to get bursted down for a huge impetus crit. Going in, the racks have fallen on bottom, cleaning up on the ranged in mid, and from there, that's pretty much the end of the game. There's no coming back from this position with this many racks lost. Glimpse back in once more. TNK going to get picked. And that's going to be the conclusion of this match here, I believe. So, first game, crazy back and forth. Second one, Miracle farms up, takes 240 creeps to the bank, 8, 1, and 4, and he pretty much defines how this game went. Very well played, but a very conclusive victory for this game too. So that brings it to an equalizer, 1-1 for both MiTH-Trust and First Departure, bringing us to a Game 3. I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. We've already seen great Miracle carry play. We've seen some intense back and forth teamfight Dota. Some awesome picks, Invokers and Shadow Demons and Disruptors, and a lot of variant play. So these guys have shown that they can do so many different strategies, and they just have to execute them at different times. So we'll see. Timbersaw might get banned out this next time because he was quite a thorn in their side, but beyond that, we'll see everything that is to come in Game 3. Thanks for tuning in. That will be a couple minutes, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Game 2. Maybe not as awesome as Game 1, but still an amazing series nevertheless. I'll catch you guys on the next one. If you guys want to check me out again, twitter.com/blazecasting. Throw me some feedback. If you want to criticize, if you want to support, whatever you want to do, you can follow that, or you can follow the Twitch live stream. Dota Talk TV3 is where I'm at on Twitch, and I'm going to be for many more matches to come, so we'll see. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you guys on the next one. SCA Dota for the win.